Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday. It's March 30th. This is going to wrap up our chart lessons for the week. No chart lessons on Fridays. It was kind of I wouldn't call it a slow day, but there weren't a lot of good setups today. It's really kind of a repeat of what we had yesterday. We trended up, found resistance, had a little correction, and then made another leg up. Same thing today. We trended up a little stronger, had a little bigger correction, and then we tried to trend up again. In the end, it's a range day. You can see the highs and the lows, and this just turned out to be the midpoint. But there's also, let me just change the color. There's also a two-tiered channel working up in here as well, and both of them were in play. I think you really had to, I really think the range was the main pattern, and this was like a secondary pattern, because you see we never could break above that high here when we should have either came back to this line or went higher. Of course, that's after 2 o'clock, and things change a little bit after that point in time. So, but yeah, it's not going to take long today. We'll wrap this up. But you can see there's two halves of this, and it's basically a measured move. It was a little bit difficult to find your measured move once it broke higher here, um, because early on I was really measuring it from here to here, this high and this low, the overnight. And if you use that, then we don't get anywhere close. So you really, until we really found this resistance here, it was difficult to understand that this was a midline right in here. So um, this might have taken you a little bit of time to find it. Of course, um, when this turned down right here, I actually moved mine down to right here, and that's close, and it may actually fit there. It's only a tick or so difference, and you can move it up, and it probably still fits. But I believe I've got it right, the way I had it right there, like so. Um, but this early in the morning, when you come all the way over to this side, this is looking very rangy, and it's looking like this is the highs over here. And it looks like we had a little failed break higher, is what it looks like to me. So, um, but then it bounces and it continues higher. This was a little risky to go short right here, but I'll be honest with you, when this looked like the high, I like this short, being that far away from the EMA. We hadn't had a close outside of this yet, so it's a little bit risky. Uh, but you can see how it gapped right over that trend line too. That's pretty common. You'll see that a good bit. So you might have considered going short there. I'll be honest with you, I liked it. I'll make it green. I'm sure if I liked it, some of you probably liked it as well. But let me back up. I'm getting ahead of myself. When I came in, we're trending down. We get a close outside. This looks like a range day. And somebody else asked me about this. I think I'm trying to remember where they went short. I think they went short right here. They had a little better setup than I do right there. But no, they actually went short right here. And you can see that does look pretty bearish, but that's all one move up. And if you draw your trend line, and it's a first entry, it might have been a second entry on their chart. I can't remember, but I think they were looking at like a hidden second entry in here. But this is why even though that looks like a great trade, it fails and it goes higher before it goes down. And there's actually a second entry short right here, but it's not a very good setup. It's a little doji on my chart. So that kept me out of it. But when it makes this double, triple top here and breaks out and gives you that bearish bar, I like going short right there, and that works out good. This one was very tempting, but it's right into the low of the day. We'd already bounced there once, and we'd actually bounced there multiple times. And if you go back to yesterday, there was support, support there. Um, so that's a little bit dangerous going short. Even though that looks really nice, you see it fails and it bounces. So if you did go short there, you just got trapped, and you got to reverse. And if you do, you catch a nice move here, and you make back what you lost plus some. But yeah, going back to this, draw that trend line um, and wait on the break. Even though this looks like a big move, this is in the overnight, and that's not really a big, huge price range. Maybe 254 to 261 or so. Um, it's 6 points. So even though that looks like a pretty strong move, that happens. You get a lot of big bars like that in the overnight. It's still not necessarily a really strong move. But whenever that price is trading inside of that overnight high and low, you got to be a little concerned that it might be a range day. So you got to be careful. So let these these shorter term ones play out. And if you'd have done that, you probably wouldn't have got burned by going short right there. So that's about the best advice I can give you on that. Because I can see, if you move this all the way to the right hand chart, it looks pretty strong right there. But it is a first entry. And, a lot of times you're going to get that fake out first, and that's exactly what happens. And there's a double trap here because they made it look like it was a failed second entry short, and then it reverses and it turns out to be a failed second entry long. But the trend is down, so if you want to err, you want to err to the short side, not the long side. So then you bounce down here, and this is a double test of these levels again, but there's just not a very good setup bar here. And if you'd use this one, it would have looked like you got faked out. So wait on something better, and then we get a little breakout pullback long here. Nice bullish bar that bounces right off the highs, right off the EMA. Look how we just shot right through there. That's not your true reversal pattern, but I like it enough that I think if you want to be aggressive, you'll go long there. But you're better off to wait on the true reversal, which is right here where you get the failed second entry short and a double test of this level and another nice bullish bar, and look at it go. That's what most of your better traders were waiting on. You got some aggressives in here trying to get in early, but this is what your smart traders are waiting on, and that's that key entry point, and look at it go. Boom. And that actually confirms the trend line because you got your first two swings on these first two bars, and then that confirms it. Notice how it closes right inside. You pull back here, that's too close to the high. You got to skip that one. It's a little bitty tiny. Actually, I'll jump ahead of myself. This is just a first entry right into the high, so you don't want to take that much room. But it pushes up, and you get that failed break higher that we talked about a minute ago. There's no real convincing close of this, so this is a little bit risky. But most likely being that far away from the EMA, it's probably coming back. And it had more than enough to get out, but it took notice how it jumped across there and it dropped down pretty quick, and then it kind of moved around before it dropped on down. So, and then of course we get a bounce, and then you get the double test. It's like a try to go twice slow, it's breakout, pull back long kind of thing. This one's risky because it's right into those highs. But notice how you got that double support right there. And it tests that twice. Really what you'd want is to see one more test and be the failure to the low side to go long. So that's a little risky. The only reason I really liked it was because it's just a really small bar. There's not much risk there. You got enough room to get out. And after moving up, they usually try to push up one more time, after the break. This is really the first close outside. So I don't believe we got one there. So you really should have been looking for a long. And at that point, if you're thinking the range is this big and we do break higher, then you got a long way to go to the highs. So something else to think about there. And once we start going up, again, you probably wouldn't have found this resistance area until we made these highs, and then you drag it up, and then you can kind of figure this stuff out. Sometimes you need a little bit more price action. And notice what happens. We got the close out. We really make two legs up. They're not measured because we couldn't get above that resistance. Um, there's a second entry short right there, but I don't think you want to take that. Um, you might argue for it to be green. Um, I think you're better off to wait because you'll get burned just like right here. If you'd have tried it right here, you'd have got burned. So it's always better to wait on a lower high. And you actually get one here, but you're kind of, by the time it finishes, you got 3 or 4 bars stacked up. One of them's a doji, so that's congestion, and that's dangerous going out of congestion into an EMA, a support resistance area. So then you get a second entry long, but you don't want to go long right into the high there after the break and a couple legs up. So you just sit tight, and when you get that failed second entry long, there's your chance to go short. You really want to go short behind that bar. Doesn't matter that it's bullish because it's a failed second entry long and it's a double top, and you're looking for prices to turn down at this point as well, because you had your trend over here is played out, even if you don't see the range yet. So this one trends on down. You get your first close outside and a chance to go short. I didn't like this one. It's just the first entry right into the low. It didn't even get back to the EMA. Too many times you'll get a little trap right there. Notice it didn't go far before it did bounce. Plus, if you drew this line off of those first couple of swings and drug it up, you realize, hey, we're nowhere near back to that trend line yet. And then when it does come back, it's still kind of screwy because it gets outside. It might have been a little bit tempting to go short right here because you could look at that as a second entry short, and that is back to the EMA. But again, we're just kind of going sideways here, and look how we've been breaking lower. We broke higher, we broke lower, we broke higher. I think you want to skip that because, eventually it does turn lower, but you can't risk that. With it flipping back and forth like that and just kind of being congested, because especially in the middle, this is the middle area of the range, and this is where you start to get a lot of failures and things. You don't really know if this trend channel's in play yet either. If you'd have known that for sure, you could have said, hey, that's probably where we're headed, but you only have your first 2 swings here. Yeah, it fits off the top, but it doesn't mean that it's going to hold here. You need a confirmed trend, and just remember that means you got to have 3 or more touches. Third touch, the first 2 set the trend, the first 2 swings, and then the third touch confirms it. And so you got a confirmation right there. Again, I wouldn't want to go long just yet. I'd wait on a higher low. Because again, you've got 3 or 4 bars stacked up. One of them's a doji, so there's a good chance it'll break out and pull back, which it does. And then look, it gives you this nice bullish. It gives you a little bitty. What I like about this one is it's a higher low. It makes a double bottom as well. It bounces. It confirms the trend line, and then it double checks it, and then you get this little bitty bar right here with like 2 or 3 ticks in it. You can't even hardly see it right there. Move some of this stuff out of the way, but there it is, and it's just like 2 ticks in it. So I like risking that one right there based on this brown trend line, and the fact that this could be a midline has got to be a little bit of concern, but that confirmed that trend line, and then you tested it again, and this is really, you need to put your stop below this bigger bar, even though you're going to enter on the next break higher. But you could just throw your stop right below that bar and make it real low risk. So, but I still like that one, just simply because you got 2 legs down, and it's confirming that brown trend line. So, and notice what happens. Another key entry area, and it takes off again. Then we pull back. You get a first entry. You pull back. You get a second entry. A nice bullish bar. So where are we probably going back to test this high? And there it goes, off it goes. And we're just coming off the midline down here as well. So off it goes. And that pretty much got you into the 2 o'clock hour. You might have been thinking about trying to get short up here, but you really need to wait on at least a very good signal bar and probably a lower high. That doesn't come till here, and you see it would have been a nice trade, but it's way after 2 o'clock. So yeah, not a lot of trades today. There was some good movement, but there just weren't many setups. And like I said, you can't let a day like today, like you've heard me say before. I guess I should say, I don't know if I've said it today, but you can't let a big move down off of like right here make you feel like, hey, I missed something, because the right move is don't do anything. And you may still see a big move following that, but the next time what'll happen is you'll not take it, and you'll say, dang, I should have taken that, and you'll get all upset with yourself. And then the next time you take it, it fails. And trust me, that'll happen to you a lot. So if you stay disciplined and you follow the rules, you're going to be right most of the time. And yeah, you're going to miss a few trades that didn't look right, that didn't fit the rules, but they had a big move. But that's okay. You'd rather be wrong and on the sidelines than wrong on the sidelines because you lost. So it's much easier to be on the sidelines watching than be on the sidelines losing. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. That'll wrap our week up. We'll be back again Monday, but I'm done for today. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.